Welcome back. There's new developments in the heartbreaking case of an 11-month-old boy who died in 2017 after he was allegedly shaken by his daycare provider. Hennepin County Attorney's Office is giving a final review of that case that has lingered for nearly 8 years. Now, the parents of the little boy, Gabe Cooper, spoke out for the first time since his death, as well as the husband of the daycare provider charged with murder, who is now suing the doctors who labeled Gabe's death shaken baby syndrome. Lou Raguse is here with the KARE 11 exclusive.
He's just an old man right there.
Nearly 8 years have passed since the day Joe Cooper dropped off his son Gabe at daycare.
I miss him.
Only for his wife Sam to learn a couple hours later that something was terribly wrong.
And I got a phone call from Sylvia. I couldn't understand anything she was saying.
It was Gabe's third day of daycare at Sylvia Pollock Reynolds' house, where Gabe's sister had gone for a couple years. According to a criminal complaint, Sylvia told police she went to the backyard briefly to check on the other children, and when she returned, Gabe was limp. Joe got there to find paramedics giving Gabe CPR.
Sylvia was being interviewed by Minneapolis PD, and as soon as she seen me, her focus turns over to me, and I kept hearing just, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's all I heard from her.
Gabe turned 1 year old in the hospital, then died.
God, he was such an amazing kid.
Court papers say the opinion of medical experts was that Gabe suffered an acceleration-deceleration injury, commonly called shaken baby syndrome. Months later, the Hennepin County Attorney's Office charged Sylvia with second-degree murder, but she was in Poland and has not returned.
What reason does she have to believe that she would get a fair trial?
Will Reynolds believes his wife Sylvia is innocent.
Why do you believe Sylvia?
Why do I believe? Because the evidence indicates that Sylvia didn't do anything wrong with that child. That's why.
Will has filed a federal lawsuit accusing medical professionals of conspiracy, specifically altering records to exclude other possibilities for Gabe's death.
They omitted exculpatory medical evidence and the CT imaging that clearly demonstrated an injury on the back of Gabriel's head that pre-existed Sylvia's care.
While Joe and Sam say Gabe crawled off the couch 1 week earlier and bumped his forehead, they say a second fall alleged in the lawsuit affecting the back of his head never happened. They provided these videos to police showing Gabe acting normally in the week after the fall.
And he basically, he had fallen off the couch and he got a little bit of a rug burn on the side of his forehead. And there was no other side effects or after effects afterwards.
The Coopers are speaking publicly for the first time, feeling that as the years go by without Sylvia's case going to court, their son is the one being forgotten.
I just want some kind of justice for my son. Through this entire ordeal, there's a child that's not here anymore. What about him? I want some kind of justice for him.
Lou Raguse reporting. Cracking down on fraud was one of the top topics at the legislature this year. This week, the special session came to a close. KARE 11 investigative reporter AJ Legault takes a look at some of the key reforms introduced to better protect taxpayer money.
At New Way, Minnesota's largest addiction treatment provider, with satellite centers across the state, KARE 11 exposed a complex pattern of double billing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. Here's what was happening. Treatment sessions are billed to Medicaid by the hour. The rules state that in order to bill for that hour, the session must go past the midpoint. New Way exploited that midpoint rule, scheduling their treatment sessions in 35-minute blocks. So for 35 minutes of treatment, taxpayers were charged for a full hour. But then, records show New Way also double billed. Here's how. From 8 to 8:35, they'd bill for an hour. Then at 8:45, they'd start billing for another hour. Double billing for the overlapping 15 minutes. That means every 4 hours of treatment, they billed for 5 hours, inflating their billing by 25%. In response, lawmakers promised reforms.
This is out of control, and we need to do a whole relook at the whole system.
Here's what they did. They passed a policy fix to eliminate the midpoint billing loophole and specifically ban duplicative billing.
As part of our Recovery Inc. investigation into Medicaid fraud, we also discovered another glaring loophole in Minnesota law. Kickbacks, a federal crime, were not illegal under state statute. That's now changed.
How surprised were you to learn that kickbacks were not technically illegal in Minnesota?
We were stunned.
Republican State Representative Kristen Robbins was chair of the new Fraud Prevention Committee. In hearings, Carol Levin's investigations were frequently cited when the FBI raided Evergreen Recovery, another treatment provider, last summer. One of the charges was illegal kickbacks in the form of providing free housing in exchange for attendance at treatment services. The DOJ has made similar allegations about New Way. New Way argued Minnesota DHS has known all about their housing subsidies for years and raised no concerns.
Commissioner, are you saying that you don't have the authority to prohibit kickbacks?
When questioned, DHS's temporary commissioner told the Fraud Committee, with kickbacks, their hands were tied.
It's my understanding that we do not have the authority in state statute to take action.
That was one of the most stunning hearings.
Was it obvious to lawmakers that kickbacks needed to be made illegal in state
Absolutely. Strong bipartisan support.
New Way itself was forced to make major changes. DHS cut off funding for their outpatient treatment, which served more than 800 patients. That resulted in New Way shuttering their program in late April. They now operate just residential treatment with 226 beds. All references to CEO David Venice, whom Carol Levin exposed made nearly $1 million a year running the nonprofit, disappeared from New Way's website. In an email, New Way attorney David Glazer told Carol Levin they eliminated all C-suite and VP level positions, and while some leaders stayed in new roles, they are reflective in both salary and title of a dramatically smaller organization.
There were a number of anti-fraud measures that did not pass, including increased penalties for Medicaid thieves. Currently, no matter how much Medicaid money is stolen, you can't be sentenced to more than 2.5 years. That's similar to what you'd get for stealing a flat screen TV. So clearly, lawmakers have a lot more work to do when they come back next year. For Carol Levin Investigates at the Capitol, I'm AJ Legault.
AJ and the team getting it done as usual. Hey, stick with us. We got more news, weather coming up.